When you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Hustle hard, hustle every single day. I'll be making moves till I'm buried in my grave. To the system, I don't wanna be a slave. I've been doing shit my way, or the highway. And in the driveway is a nice range. Cause I grind through the climb, I invite pain. You'll never hear me, bitch, nah, I don't complain. Just gotta flip the switch and you can go and obtain anything you want, anything you need. Your mind's got the key ingredient, it's belief. They'll deceive with the negativity, but I just slide right by that energy. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. You got a mind, but even that could change. You could flip the gray matter like some batter in your brain. That's why I say, fake it till you make it A. And if you play that game, then you just might make a change. Rearrange all the bad to okay. Take the worst thoughts saying, turn them to a game. Take the best thoughts saying, put them on display. On repeat in your brain till you're feeling no more pain. Never slow yourself down, you can do some more. Push past all the pain and you'll find a door. Open it up and finally explore everything that you thought you could never do before. And even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go. Go, 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 go. Even when you feel low, you can still go. Even when you feel slow, you can still go. Even when there's no hope, you can still go. I never answer to no, man, I still go.
And we are live. What is up, crew? It's Friday, June 17th. Really excited about the slate today. We get a 3-game WNBA slate. It's always fun when you get 2 or more WNBA games, especially on a Friday. So I hope we have a good Friday. How's your day going so far, Eric?
Not bad, man. It's been a pretty good week so far. Been taking a few days to relax and kind of reset and here ready for this big game today. I believe we have a big Sunday as well.
We have a what?
I believe we have a 3-game Sunday as well. So
Oh,
we'll get
cool.
some action this weekend.
Cool. Yeah, definitely look out for those. Yeah, I mean, a lot of news came dropped today throughout the day, so we're going to touch on some of those things, especially for the later game. But yeah, I mean, I think we should just dive right into it. Give ourselves time to build cards later, since we have 3 games to go through. Yeah, so it's, like I said, it's 3 games. We have 1 island game that starts first at 7 p.m. Eastern, and that is Seattle at Connecticut. It's a pretty good implied total at 162, and Connecticut are 7.5-point favorites. Now, all 3 of these teams or games are rematches. So these teams have all played each other at least once this season. So we have a little bit of data to go off of, and some of them have played recently too. So yeah, so we can just dive right into this game. I think we start with Connecticut side because I know there was some interest with the crew with some of Connecticut props, including our usual Brianna Jones, who burned people last game with her first half props and points. But got to have goldfish memory, and she's been productive for us all season. So I'd like to talk about her props and then Jonquel Jones too. So let's start with them. Let's look back at the past game, this matchup. I think it was about 2 weeks ago they played, like June 5th or 6th. Yeah, so in this game, you could see that Jonquel really dominated. 10 of 17, dominated field goal attempts, and she finished with 25 real points. And she also racked up her usual amount of rebounds, and she had a real abnormal amount of assists. 6 assists, which is crazy. And Alyssa
Yeah.
Thomas had so many assists that game too, 12, and I think a lot of those went to JJ. So that duo really dominated. And Seattle, they are very vulnerable in the interior. They're a solid defense overall, but mainly just on the perimeter with Jewel out there on the perimeter, and they can really give teams a hard time with 3-point shooting and long field goal attempts, but they do struggle to defend in the interior. So it would make sense to go right back to JJ here for her scoring, and just like her overall fantasy too, because she's gonna do it all probably again today if she can stay out of foul trouble and not foul Brianna, who can soak up a lot of fouls. She only had 3 fouls that game, but yeah, that's something to always to worry with her. Brianna Jones, she did also really well. So going back to the same game theory of Seattle really struggling to defend the interior, and we know, like I said yesterday, Connecticut really likes to hammer it in the paint. I mean, they're going to try to get all other points in the paint and really just force it inside. And yeah, they did that against Seattle for sure. And yeah, Brianna Jones lived on the free throw line. 9 of 10 free throws, finished with 21 points, and she also had 8 boards as well. So I think we could see the same thing again today. I don't see why Connecticut would change their overall strategy, and especially against Seattle, the type of matchup where everything's going to probably funnel inside again. Um, so I would probably say choosing between JJ and Brianna. I'd be hesitant to play both, although both could easily clear their props, just to be safe and not have negative correlation. Probably choose one or the other and just mix and match in different cards. I think Brianna's points is always live, especially when it's still at 12 and a half. It hasn't moved. Um, and then, yeah, JJ, her fantasy's right there with their season average, but she should thrive again today and dominate usage and do everything. I feel like so I would be okay with that. I don't see anything else standing out. I would say that Alyssa Thomas's rebounds could be in play. Um, she's kind of taken a dip in offensive production because of JJ dominating usage and Courtney at times having spike usage games, and especially when Brianna checks in. But yeah, I think Seattle is a bottom rebounding team, so that's why I like a lot of rebounding for the interior of Connecticut. JJ, Brianna, Alyssa, all of them could thrive on rebounds because Seattle's going to try to chuck it from three, and there could be a lot of rebounds to go around. So I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are. Connecticut, they're on a back-to-back, right? They played yesterday,
Did they?
or is it Wednesday? Or Wednesday?
Yeah, I believe it was Wednesday.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for Connecticut here, let me go back to my notes here real fast. 100% agree with not only Rihanna and Jonquel here. They're just their production that we've seen from not only them individually, but in this matchup previously. Seattle has been really susceptible to leaving basically backdoor cuts
Yeah.
on these twin tower kind of sets that we've seen here. We saw that Dallas had a really good success with that with their bigs in the front
Mm-hmm.
court. Oh man, excuse me. Sorry, the wind's been blowing like crazy outside
Oh,
today,
you're
so
good.
it's getting the old allergies. But all in all, from Connecticut, I would say I'm going to be hesitant on the guards today. They were very underwhelming in this matchup here previously and in some seasons prior. So, no real confidence going to any of them today. If I had to pick one, I think Bonner at her real points is a pretty interesting one. They have her lines actually fairly adjusted. They didn't juice them too much, and they left her point prop at 14 and a half. And we saw that she, in the previous meeting, went to the free throw line like a million times. I think she went like 8 or 9 times, and she is a very, very hyper efficient free throw shooter. Now, I wouldn't say I would expect the same kind of production. You kind of get what you get with her, but from the kind of wing pieces or any of honestly even the bench pieces that we have to choose from today, that's the only kind of small interest. I love Jonquel, honestly, real points or PRA. As you mentioned, she had a kind of an outlier assist game there, but she was pushing a triple double, and that was really, really impressive work from her. Because if I'm not mistaken, she got in the early half foul trouble, and she kind of started off a little rocky. And oh my goodness, she came out after half and just was erupting. She could not miss. So love her today. She was actually one of my favorite plays for today, honestly. Either her PRA or her fantasy score, because she got some pretty good, not only assists, but some stocks in that game as well, just from the size matchup they're going to have down low. Um, I did like Brianna Jones. She's not only being a wonderful six off the bench, but her trips to the free throw line as well. Definitely burned us with that even 12 score last time, but we're going to goldfish that, like you said. And I think, honestly, either her real points or her PRA, she's been getting not only more rebounds, but actually involved a little bit more in the assist category. We saw that spike in the last couple of weeks as well. So feeling pretty good, honestly, all in all, about Connecticut here. Any of the sizable bigs that we have up front. The only two props from Alyssa that I had any interest in today was the rebound at 7.5 with you, and I actually did like her assists at 5.5. You
Yep.
know, for a lot of folks that may have forgot, earlier on in the season, we were really high on her assists. Like that was the lock prop of the day for several weeks. And then her offensive, kind of scheme has changed a lot. Not only has her real shot attempts, her real points have gone down, but she's really kind of moved down to the defender and grabbing a lot of rebounds lately. So I don't know if I had any comfortable feels with her fantasy or PRA, but you could definitely get there with either rebounds, assists, or if you want to do a fringe play, her turnovers at 2.5 might be an option as well.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, you have Gabby and Jewel who can be scrappy and wiry and rack up steals and cause turnovers, and she's Alyssa definitely has a propensity to turn it over, with she averaging almost 3 turnovers per game, I believe.
She was.
Yeah,
It
three
might
point
have.
one. Yeah,
Yeah, and honestly, that number's going down just because of her not taking so many shot attempts. She's getting the ball out of her hands a lot less and actively trying to set pick and
right.
rolls. So that makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah. If she's trying to play make like she did in that last game matchup with 12 assists, you're gonna turn it over to that just comes with it. She had 4 turnovers in that game too, so
Yeah, exactly.
I like it. I like yeah, it's a tough call between I like the assists too, like you said, and I like the rebound because if they go back to the same offensive scheme like they did recently against them and it worked so well, and they go Twin Towers, like you said, it makes sense for Alyssa to have a real high assist rate and assist potential when they go with the Twin Tower lineup against the really weak Seattle interior defense. So I think maybe get exposure to both her rebound and assist, or if you want a positive correlation, it makes sense to do Alyssa's assists and pair it with Jonquel's points or Brianna's points. That would make sense too.
Yeah. That's honestly one of my favorite kind of card construction. I wouldn't say locks, but a high core piece for me today, I feel like is a good correlation, at least. Especially from a standpoint, if you guys are going to break your cards down, into this first game as a standalone, or if you're going to pick and choose props from all three games and trying to put them together. Um, definitely, if you're going to solo out this first game, having one of those correlations between, rebound this player, real points this
Hmm.
player, or such and such.
Hmm.
And to give you everyone kind of a little bit of context too for the guards and some of the surrounding pieces, Heidemann played 12 minutes. Carrington ended up with 17 minutes, mostly from Brianna Jones ended up fouling out there. But all of the guards, even Courtney Williams, played season low in minutes. So just a little something to think about there.
Yeah, it looks like Brianna Jones racked up some fouls here. I trying to remember that game because I watched it, but maybe it was against a lot of it was against Brianna because she's just a foul magnet.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
the refs were a little bit more kind of calling some stuff that I don't know was a little sus.
yeah. I mean, just with the inconsistency of Connecticut's backcourt and just the rotation, because it's really they just play the hot hand between Heidemann and Carrington. It just makes me really hesitant to play any of them. And just how well the perimeter defense is for Seattle, I'm probably just going to stay away from the entire backcourt of Connecticut today.
Yeah, we got way too many options
Yeah.
today.
Okay. I like this list. I think it's a solid core three of player targets, and then mix and match the different props for each of them. And then yeah, we can just go straight to Seattle, and then we'll catch up with Chad after we get to Seattle. So Seattle, it's a tough matchup, and as a result, PrizePicks really nerfed all their props relative to like, their normal production. I mean, their point props they nerfed for all pretty much majority of the players. You can see it's like almost 2 to 3 points less than their season average, and also their PRA and fantasy big time for Jewel, Brianna, Ezzy, and then same for fantasy here. You can see um, huge differentials between their props and their season average. And yeah, it's just because Connecticut is a stout team. They're really good interior defense because of those bigs that we just talked about. Um, yeah, just overall good defense. And yeah, I mean, Brianna really struggled in that last game. It was one of her outlier games because she's been so consistent. One of our favorite fantasy targets, fantasy point targets this year. And yeah, she just a bad shooting night for her. 4-12 from the field, 1 of 5 3-point shooting, and she just didn't get to the free throw line that much. I mean, she really lives up to free throw line for her points. Averaging over 5 free throws made per game. And then yeah, didn't really fill up the peripherals with rebounding either. Just 2 stocks. So it was I don't I think you can take that with a grain of salt and just chop it up as an off night for her. And if she shoots better and comes out a little bit more aggressive, because they're going to need her in this matchup because how good of a team Connecticut is if they want to keep it close. I would say that's probably my favorite target on Seattle would be on Brianna's fantasy just because she can rack up the stocks and get there. I would be a little bit hesitant on the PRA just because if she does struggle again offensively and can't rack up the points, at least with the fantasy, you still have the stock upside with it, and it's still way below her season average. So I probably marked that one, and then the other one that stood out to me was Gabby Williams. She's been playing really well as of late. Um, just filling the stat line, getting a ton of rebounds. I think last game she had 10 rebounds, had a handful of assists. She doesn't score much, but she just gets it done with all of her peripherals. So her PRA in fantasy is really intriguing. But I mean, she does get stocks, averaging over 2 stocks per game. So I kind of like their fantasy being really low at 15. So curious to see what you think on that. And Sue came out playing after the news that she's going to retire this year. She had a really solid game after that most recent one. So yeah, and I think Ezzy, I know I saw you guys talking about her, so I'm curious to hear your thoughts on her as well.
Yeah, absolutely. There's some interesting plays out of Seattle today. Uh, looking kind of back through some of the game footage, Connecticut had a really good game plan for Stewart that night, and it was something that you could see they clearly ran it in practice a lot that week. From the offensive standpoint of Seattle, one thing that they were doing was always playing a 1+ cover. There was always one direct person hip to hip on Stu basically the entire time. And then there was a defender who would give Stewart basically the option to pass it back out to them. And they would be closer to shadowing her than actually defending their player. So they essentially had a double team on her almost
Mhm.
the entire game. Um, as you can see, one of the lowest shot attempts of the year, didn't make any trips to the free throw line, mostly because it's the second she was getting the ball, if she was unless she was beyond the arc, there was two defenders, one on each side of her, and she immediately had to get rid of the ball. So that was a huge problem for her on offense. And on defense, one of the things that was kind of really working her is they would do this scheme basically and pass off their defenders. Well, every time that she would get passed off her defender, that person was going back to the 3-point line. So she was getting pulled back out of the any kind of rebounding
Yeah.
opportunity. And you could see she only got 3 rebounds that game. And mostly that was because, and I don't think, coaches obviously are going to look into this and they're going to make some adjustments, but just from what happened last time, she ended up having to cover either John Quell or Bonner. And we know those are 3-point shooters, those are guards or bigs that will float a little bit further beyond the arc sometimes than not. And they were really hammering in on that to bring Stewart back out. And from that, we saw not only Williams have a great game, but both Ezzy as well had a really great game just because they had to be the down low defenders and were doing a lot of stuff under the rim. So I'll give at least Big Stu the benefit of the doubt. This is a season low or kind of a low end for her fantasy score. There's going to be a lot of turnover potential. That was actually a big reason that Connecticut blew the lead or wasn't in the lead in the early half of the game. They had seven turnovers before half and looked like the game was going to get away from them. And came out scoring in the second half and ended up winning it. But I don't think the coach here is going to let the same kind of defensive scheme take Stewart out of the game so much for this one. I think we'll see a lot more switch off here and leave her down low and let some of these, more energetic guards cover that area. So I do like her for her fantasy score tonight. I definitely love Gabby. She's just anytime she's playing upwards of 28 plus minutes, she's been cruising past that 15 fantasy score. The lack of scoring, is kind of annoying, but for her, she's been well making up for it. And not only the rebounding, but we saw this last game, a spike assist game too. So both of those two props are definitely in play. I will shout out Ezzy for her real points. I feel like it's on PrizePicks in a line that they left really soft today. And she looked really good on a lot of those backdoor cuts, being able to exploit some of the kind of fatigue on the back end defensive side from Connecticut that they were seeing. And she just had so many open looks to the lane, like completely uncontested shots that I believe in her first rotation, she had 8 points to start the half or to start that quarter, and just super low bar. I feel like Prize Picks is not giving Seattle enough credit for
Yeah.
today.
They nerfed them big time.
Yeah, and honestly, I don't want to go too overboard on Seattle, but one, Connecticut's played quite a few games in the last week or so, and the last time we got the reverse script where Connecticut came to their home court and smacked them down. So I think we might get to see it run back here where Seattle goes to their home court and gets the win there tonight.
Yeah. I could see that. I mean, Seattle. I feel like Seattle is a real solid unit. They just at times just can't put it all together and struggles, especially offensively. But when they're humming, they're a tough team to beat for sure. And then Jewel, I always like her potential. But yeah, tough matchup. I think one line that's pretty low for her is her free throw. It's at 1.5. She's averaging almost 3 free throws made per game. So if you wanted a really low line for her, that could be in play. And I mean, obviously her fantasy was nerfed big time too. But yeah, I think people will like her assist too today. But given the matchup, I think I think it could be right there in the fringe push territory. Did you like any of her props before we moved on?
Yeah, you kind of get what you get with Jewel. She's, for me personally, been a little up down. So the two prompts for her that I did have highlight for today was the assisted three,
Uh-huh.
and if that prompt moves, I'm not sure I want anything to do with that. That can be kind of a high fringe play for us today, but at three, it feels at least safe for a push. Um,
Okay.
in her fantasy score, it went down from this last outing, and she's been pretty much right around that 25, 26 marker almost all season now.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I'll give a little shout out to Sue Bird here. I don't know if that 6.5 assist prop is in a feel good click area today. That seems a little high, but it is a tough matchup here, and she cleared it the last time that they met with it being such a tough defensive front here. I think for her, I might just take the blanket over her fantasy score. If if her assist is going to be one of her leading stats, outside of stocks, that's one of the highest stats for your fantasy score. And on any given night, she can go out and put up 20 real points.
Yeah. Yeah. She was very efficient scoring in that game for sure. They also have her. They also have a block steal prop for it 1.5. It's another low line.
Yeah, I
Um,
saw that too.
I mean, it's right there because I mean, at best, you're probably gonna get 2 from her. So yeah, it's a little more fringy in my opinion, but yeah, I agree. They're gonna need her to step up if Brianna's getting all the attention, like we were talking about. So yeah, okay. Well, if I had to rank it, I mean, I think the Jewel assist makes sense with how low it is. If you wanted to pair it with Aziz's points, that totally makes sense. I'm probably not going to play. I wouldn't play 3 Seattle on one card. So I mean,
Maybe
just
if you
given,
were separating it for like a single game, you could consider
yeah,
maybe doing something like that.
yeah. Since it's a 3 game slate, I would probably just grab one of these core pieces that I feel good about.
Yeah.
Um, just due to the matchup and how tough it is for him. But okay, let's catch up with chat and we'll move on to the next game, which I think is the game. So we should focus a lot of time on that one. All right, let's see who's trickling in.
We got some bots. I saw that.
Oh, let's go. Mike said, "You missed most of yesterday's stream as the electric pole in front of my house got hit by lightning." I remember you saying that and snapped it too.
Oh
Back up and running
man.
today. Glad you're back, Mike. Glad you're okay. Sean said, "Made $100 this morning. CS:GO and Val ready for tonight." Man, those are always the best times when you wake up in the morning after a CS:GO and you see, yeah, money in your account. Underrated said, "Go, go, go, hit the like. Let's go." Appreciate that, Underrated. Franklin said, "Turner under blocks and steals." I assume, yeah, Brianna Turner. We're going to get to that next.
Yeah.
MLB Goat said, "What's good, Josh? What's up, MLB?" Emerson's baby get. What's up, man? Hope yesterday went well for you in your cards, man. MLB Goat said, "I just seen Candace Parker is out. I really like Emma assist. The chance goes from, yeah, for sure. She definitely gets a boost. We're definitely gonna get to that next." Skimmer said, "Congrats to Josh's Warriors." Hey, appreciate that, man. I already got the final shirt. Repping here in the Bay, man. Love it. Vince said, what's up, Vince?" Hey, Io in the house. You're Young Goats. What up, Io? Cowboy Nation, what up, Cowboy? How you doing today, man? Io said, "Josh, was the tequila flowing last night?" Oh, you bet, man. Daniel D said, "Let's have a good card, fellas." Yeah, I think we could build a real strong team card today with all the options. And then we got the bot. What's up, bot? Cheaper Tinder. Hey, shout out to Gun. They're just looking out for Gun, man. Let's see. Any guess on who's going to go off for the Suns tonight? I watched Courtney Williams and Heidemann hit everything almost last game. They were on fire. If you're talking about the most recent game, they were on fire. Little revenge narrative there for Courtney. I think she played a little more aggressive because of that. But yeah, they were on fire against Atlanta. Little different matchup today, though. So I think I don't know if you missed it, but our spiel for Connecticut, we think it's going to be Jonquel Jones and Brianna that will go off most likely, but definitely a high chance of Jonquel. Stevie said, "What up, Josh? You got drunk yesterday?" Yeah, man. Drunk on happiness and other things. All right. Glad to see everyone here, man. All right, let's move on. It's trying to save time for us, and so we can really break down this game because I think we can get a lot of good plays and props from this game. It's a 5-point spread in favor of Dallas, and I think a big reason for that is Phoenix is on the road, and they are not a good road team. They have a losing record and a pretty poor. I think they're like around 75 points per game on the road, which is like third worst. But and they've played a lot of games over the last 7 days. I feel like every time we open a slate up, Phoenix is in the slate.
Yeah, I believe it's fifth game played in 8 days.
It's crazy, man. And they just had a back-to-back too.
All road games too.
So I think Vegas is really taking that into account, and it makes sense. But I will say that they're playing really good as of late, just overall. And yeah, they've had a hard schedule, and now they're starting to play a little bit easier teams. And Dallas is trending in the opposite direction. So they're on a 4-game losing streak, so they're due here. I feel like, and being at home and on that 4-game losing streak, it's just setting up even more so for them to bounce back today. If you believe in like narratives and kind of like game script theory there. So I could see them really popping off here. And if that's the case, then it's going to be players like Enrique. Everything starts and stops with her with the offense. She carries it when she's on fire. The offense is thriving and clicking. So she went off that last game they played. Most recent game they played against each other. Let's see if I can pull that up. Here we go. She had 37 real points. You got to take this as a grain of salt because this is definitely an outlier game. She was 5 of 11 from 3, 10 of 10 from the free throw line, and almost 50% shooting from the field overall. I mean, this is one of those games you're just like, when you're on, and she's that kind of player. I feel like a real streaky shooter. I've seen her go through a lot of cold spells, but also she can get real hot at any time. And she's just going to dominate the shot volume. So I feel really good about her points today. Just do the matchup again. Phoenix also being probably fatigued all these games, recent back-to-back. And we've seen Phoenix, they're definitely exploitable on defense, and you can attack them, especially with guard play. So I like her points. That's probably what I'd go with the most, because a lot of times I've targeted her PRA in the past, and a lot of times she's just looking to score, not play make, and not get rebounds. So I'm probably just going to stick with her real points. It's still less than her season average. So that was probably my favorite. And then I think with how much Phoenix turns the ball over across, Taurasi, Skylar, and even Diamond, I think Alicia Gray, who's like one of the best perimeter defenders in the league and scrapping can force turnovers, I think you could either go with her fantasy or her 1.5 block plus steal prop, which is really enticing in a low line. But I think her fantasy is also in play. It's really low at 24, in my opinion, in this matchup. Let's see how she did that last game. She was efficient scoring, which is unusual for her because she's usually sitting around 10 or 12 points. She had 16 points and some boards, and she had 6 stocks that game. It's crazy. Yeah, she got it done in the stock department, man. 5 blocks, 1 steal. Yeah, it's a tough call. What if you had to choose? Would you choose the 1.5 with the low line with the 1.5 block steal, or would you just want to encompass everything with her fantasy?
Yeah, I think we go everything here, honestly. For me, I had her PRA and her fantasy score. Just, looking at her PRA this last game, she shot like 2 for 10 and still ended up getting 18 to clear our prop line that we had at 17
Yeah,
and a or 17 and a half, whatever. But she's been getting it done. Like I would say probably least amount in efficient scoring. Some of her shot selection has been a little spotty lately, but she's not afraid to go out and shoot a bunch of threes. So, you kind of get maybe a safe safe low fantasy score around on a bad night, 23, 24 usually. And in this matchup, it seems like they didn't really adjust her lines at all. Um, so I love the fantasy score. She's going to be playing a lot of
yeah,
minutes here with Satu out.
yeah.
That's going to free up a ton of time for most of the starting pieces here. And we've seen also kind of unfortunately for Bella, she's been getting in a ton of foul trouble lately.
Yeah.
And as a result of that, they're having to bring a lot of these starters back out. And some of them, unfortunately, are getting in foul trouble too. And some of that could, be from they're tired. They've been out there for 20 plus straight minutes and they got to go cover this person who just came back off the bench, you know, and it happens. This is going to be a bit of a pace up for Dallas here. So,
Hmm.
um, they're going to have to go out and cover the three ball and some of these turnaround opportunities. They are really good in the fast break, so I do expect any opportunities and turnovers that Dallas does get are going to be pretty much free points for tonight. And Alicia Gray is really great about that. You saw with the stocks, most of
Hmm.
those result in points too or assists one.
Hmm.
Um,
Yeah.
so I really like her today,
Me too.
for a starting piece at least.
Yeah, me too. Me too. And yeah, especially you brought up a good point. I forgot to go over that. Savvy is out, and she was out last game, and Taisha Harris started in her place, and then uh, came off the bench. Do you think they're going to do that again, or do you think Mabry is going to come back into the starting lineup?
So that's tough, to be honest. Mostly just because if Mabry does come back with the starters, they have nobody on the bench. They put more or less all their eggs in this one basket for the starting unit,
Hmm.
and we know that Enrique it will gladly take a million shots. So I don't think that they need help on the opportunity for the starting unit here, especially just um, with Gray having reasonable scoring nights most nights, anyways. But between Bella Thornton and then kind of what other piece wants to step up for the night, they've been doing okay in the scoring department. A lot of that's really been hurting them on defense. But we have the second unit coming in here, and one prop that we were actually able to exploit before they took it off the board, they had Mabry's adjusted lines, her real points were whenever they assumed she was starting, I think it was at 11 and a half the other day. And then the confirmed starters, price picks over adjusted, and they put her at like 8.5. And I mean, we were just smashing that. That was a free square because she's a 3 point shooter. And assuming she's going to make 1 or 2 3 points and just a bucket here or there. Plus, for this matchup, Phoenix, can give a couple fouls up as well. And we saw her take a few trips to the free throw line. That was a super easy smash. Um, Today, I don't think I want to go back to the 13 and a half here because this could be setting up for a situation and an unfortunate situation where Mabry does start. And I don't think that's going to be good for Dallas here. So this could be one of those we need to see starting line before we feel really good about the secondary pieces. But the starting pieces, I feel pretty confident about today.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I think the one thing that with Mabry that stood out to me, especially if she's starting, would be her rebounds.
Yep.
Phoenix is one of the worst offensive rebounding teams, so they don't really get offensive rebounds, second chance putbacks, and they're just overall one of the worst rebounding teams. and they're gonna put up a lot of threes, which are a lot of long rebounds. I mean, the 3 rebounds is definitely intriguing. It's risky because we don't know the minutes and the rotation. I believe last game she had, when she started and played 30 minutes, she had 6 rebounds in that game. And Thornton racked up the rebounds as well, but she got bumped all the way up to 7 now. I think you can definitely consider rebound props on Dallas side, just with the nature of how Phoenix plays and shoots threes and just a poor rebounding team. But yeah, it would be Thornton and Gray, the top ones, and yeah, Bella you could, but foul trouble makes me concerned about her.
She's been a little better or Thornton's been definitely more confident and more patient with the fouls, but Bella, she really scares me, and her
Yeah,
lines got really juiced because I believe her rebounding last game was what, 4.5 or 5.5. I think it was 4.5. It was something really, really low.
yeah. Okay, well, confidently, do we just want to stick with Enrique points and Gray's fantasy, or did we want to add a secondary piece from Dallas?
Let's see. I felt pretty confident, honestly, in Thornton's 7 rebounds.
Yeah,
She had a lot against him last time. I
yeah,
believe
11.
almost hit a double double. Yeah,
Yeah,
she almost had a double double that game. So
I'm with you. I mean, I'm Phoenix. I like attacking them on the glass. So I definitely would want rebound exposure on Dallas, and Thornton is probably the best option, even though it's a high number. All right, I feel pretty good about that list. How about you?
yeah, I love these 3 today. Assuming there's no foul trouble or mid-game kickballs, they should play heavy minutes here, and there's so much just opportunity, and especially with Phoenix being so fatigued here coming to Dallas, it's gonna be a scorcher out there today. So we'll see how it goes. A lot of these props, honestly, we could clear before half. We saw a lot of them pushing that last time.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, on to Phoenix. I think there's definitely some pieces we want here because we've seen Dallas really give it up to guards. What did Kelsey Plum have most recently in the last game against him? 27 real points.
Yeah,
Um,
almost 30. That's
yeah,
crazy.
they just get burned by guards. And the last matchup, it was huge games for Tarasi and Diamond, but Skylar did not play in that game, so you got to take that into consideration. But yeah, I mean, Skylar, all her lines are super juiced now because she's just been thriving and just really productive. But yeah, I just see her really, really going off again today. Or, I mean, this is her first matchup against Dallas this year, but I mean, this is just setting up really nice for her. Um, but yeah, I mean, all of her peripheral stats have been juiced. Like her assists are finally up to 5 now, and her rebounds are over her average. Yeah, everything is like right at her season average. But the only one that's like somewhat less would be her points, and I just have a feeling that she's gonna get it done scoring wise today. And then yeah, curious to see what you think of Diamond. She's kind of been our one of our other favorite players to go with. She's been very productive. So yeah, what are your thoughts on Phoenix side?
Yeah, today for Phoenix, there were a few kind of mid-level interests. I still like Diamond, honestly, either between her fantasy at 24 or her real points at 13 and a half. There for quite honestly a while, they had her real points adjusted to almost 15 for several games there, and she was clearing them, just barely, but some of that's been in large part to blowout or foul trouble, or we had I think 2 games in there with weird coaching decisions and they didn't play the starters like the end of or mid through the fourth quarter. They just pulled them. So she's looked really good, honestly, these last 2 weeks here.
Yeah,
You would think that the fatigue would set in at some point, and at least for her, she's been a really consistent first half person.
yeah,
And this last time, she almost cleared her points in the first quarter, so that was pretty insane to see. Um,
Yeah, that no, I should have brought that up. So Dallas, they're second in the most points allowed in the paint. They get torched in the paint, and Diamond is very efficient attacking the basket and scoring in the paint. So I'm with you on her 13 and a half points, and especially since Tina's points got really juiced today. I think
yeah.
I think Diamond and Brianna Turner could definitely get it done scoring in the paint today against Dallas's weak interior defense for sure.
Yeah, and Diamond and Turner both didn't see much love and adjustment on their props. Obviously, Diamond's went up a little bit because she's been scoring so many points, but Turner, in this matchup, we've seen the kind of forward slash big centers that attack the paint there have pretty good success. And I know that Turner obviously burned a lot of people the other day when we were high on her rebounding prop, but her points prop is just so low right now. And if she can get, you know, 2 buckets and maybe an and one, that's an easy prop for us to get today. You could consider her PRA, but I think if we're going to get any kind of great performance out of her, it's going to come from her scoring anyways. So you might as well just leave it at the low bar.
I agree. I agree. Okay, I like those. Did we want any exposure to old vet Rossi? I, ne- I I never call her, so I always end up usually fading it.
Yeah.
I mean, her assist is always live, obviously, but
Yep. That's my only
Skylar
prop.
Skylar's been is always there to eat up some of the potential assists. So that's the only
You could
concern.
you could any given night honestly still go her assist as long as it's under 5. If you think that she might have a decent scoring night, you could just pair that up as her PRA. Um, but the last meeting, she had a substantial amount of assists, so that's something that if history is going to repeat itself, that 5 feels kind of comfortable.
Yeah, but
Um,
Skylar didn't play that game, so that's one thing to.
that's true, but I think that Skylar is going to have more of an efficient scoring game here for us,
Yeah,
and that's
yeah,
something that we didn't have the opportunity for. Tina had the ball in her hand a lot more and was able to just drive, and she didn't pick up any assist category.
yeah. See, this last Indiana game I remember watching. They played. Skylar was playmaking, and then Petty would come in and pick up a lot of assists too. But yeah, but
Yeah,
Petty checks in for Tarasi usually, so that wouldn't really affect her assist potential. But yeah, I mean, with the implied total being 170, we usually don't get high totals like that for WNBA. That's usually on the high side for WNBA. So I think there's a lot of potential assists to go around, a lot of points to go around. So I think I think both Skylar and Tarasi could play make and get there with their assists. So I can get behind that, the 4.5, and you could pair it with Diamond's points or Skylar's points or even Brianna's points because a lot of points for Brianna if they're not offensive putbacks or.
you there?
Okay. Any other? Did you want any Tina Charles? I think someone in chat asked if we were interested in her 1.5 threes since she's taken so many threes lately.
Yeah, with her size advantage here, that could definitely be in play. I know you were pretty high on that this last time for her.
I was last time, but Dallas is actually top notch in 3-point defense with Alicia Gray out there on the perimeter. And maybe when she comes in, she's a good perimeter defender. So, yeah, Tina went 0 of 2 from 3. But I feel like she's taken a lot more threes recently than she did earlier in the season, which this game was early in the season.
Yeah, this was super early in the season,
Yeah.
and maybe not read too far into that because Phoenix as a whole has had a huge turnaround. But I think for Charles, if you want some of these low lines, you could definitely go with her 3-point prop there.
Yeah.
Or if you think that she's going to be more involved and we get more of a full game here. I didn't mind her 7.5 rebounds, just mostly because with Satu being out here and the size advantage that she has on a lot of these other opposing defenders,
Yeah.
um, she should be able to grab a lot more rebounds here. I do worry though that Dallas is they're a very quick defensive team,
Yeah.
so that could affect her 3-point chances, but she also could just get the ball and bow up and chuck it. Her her form is just so slow. Oh my god, like that concerns me the most.
Yeah.
She's actually like loading up a cannon to throw it like a sack of potatoes. And between Thornton, Gray, and Isabella, those are some really scrappy defensive players, and they're
Hmm.
not just going to hang around. They're not going to hang on the interior. They're going to leave that. If they get exposed, they get exposed. But with Tina taking so many 3-point shots over the last month, that's obviously something they're going to read into, and they're not just going to let her walk out there by herself.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Okay. I think it's a pretty solid list to go off of. Probably from the Phoenix side, most confident in Diamond points and pairing it with Tarasi's assist, and then yeah, Brianna Turner is just it's always a wild card, but this is a really really good matchup for her. So I think she could have cleared up that last game, but she went 1 of 5 and only 2 points. I think obviously she shoots a little bit better there. Good chance of getting 6 points. Okay. If there's nothing else, I can catch up with chat.
Yeah, let's get caught up on chat. See what's going on in the world today.
Vince said Dallas allows a few threes to opposing centers. 1.5 for how many threes Tina's is chucking is low though. Yeah, with all those factors like we went over, I would say it's mid tier. What's up, bot? Vince said 2 games ago Bella was at 5. I think he's talking about her rebounds because you brought that up. ECW said, who are your locks for today? Well, we're building our favorite targets as of right now from each game, and then we'll do the stream card at the end. Cowboy said, just seems like they didn't feed her the rock. Most of her points I've seen her putbacks for Turner. Yeah, that's what I was saying too. But I had once in a while she'll cut to the basket and Tarasi will find her. But yeah, it's not at a high rate. Maybe 1 or 2 times a game. And Cowboy said Bay out again.
Miss Parker.
Man. Oh, I think is he talking about Savvy? Because Savvy's his girl, I think.
Oh yeah, Savvy.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right. Speaking of Parker, let's move on to the other game. So both these games start at 8 p.m. Eastern. There's not an Island late night hammer. And both these games,
around.
and I think both these games are going to be streamed live for free. The Phoenix one is on Twitter, I believe, and then the last game we're going to go over here is going to be on Facebook stream.
Oh, nice.
So if you guys want to watch both of them, you can. The first game I think is on the CBS Sports Network. So so this last one we kind of got a mix up here with this late injury news with Candace Parker being ruled out. So kind of it's going to change things up. I already wasn't like too keen on this game. I don't like playing players against Atlanta when Atlanta's on the road. We've seen this story numerous times and how bad Atlanta is on the road. They lost 3 straight games by an average of like 9+ points and dropped 4 of the last 5. And a lot of that's because they're playing on the road. They're definitely going through it right now. But with Candace being out, maybe there's a glimmer of hope for him. But I saw that after the Candace news, the spread only moved from 9 to 8 points in favor of Chicago. So Vegas still doesn't have that much trust in Atlanta here.
No, and just to give you guys kind of a context here from last season, Atlanta was 2-14 on the road.
Yeah. So we can start with Atlanta. I'm not.
Yeah.
It'll be quick. But
Yeah.
I
The
think
least amount of interest all night is going to be in this team.
yeah, I think the primary one would be the other Parker for another revenge game. We saw that last revenge game. She went off scoring wise, right?
Yeah.
She
Revenge
had
Friday.
19 points, 8 of 12. Um, yeah, she really dominated and could do it again today, especially with Candace out. I think that would probably be the only real interest I would have is Parker's 10.5 points. And then I guess we have news on Coffee yet. I saw she's still questionable.
No, we still don't have any confirmation. And honestly, this playing even more reason why I have no interest in this side of the ball. We might not get any kind of news here until way late or right up until locks. And as of right now, we only have 3 props for Atlanta up on the board, anyways.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, because I would say this though, if Coffee's ruled out, that's even more minutes for Billings. So if you wanted to go, depending on what the open Billings rebound prop up at, I would say that you could maybe consider it if it's at 6 or less,
just
because
about to say.
she's been dominating the glass as of late. So that would maybe be the only other one I would really look into. I Rin Howard, she's been playing really well, but she's a rookie. Um, so I feel like up and down here in this matchup on the road at Chicago, I wouldn't have any confidence clicking on it, but she really struggled in that last game. Probably one of her worst shooting games. She was 2 of 12, 1 of 6 from three, and finished with 5 points. I mean, it just shows just being a rookie, the up and down that comes with being young and inexperienced. So I probably just gonna stick with Cheyenne Parker's 10.5 points. Do you have any interest in Chrissy Wallace? We like to target her points. I guess we don't know what it's going to open at though.
So they had her at 7.5 this last game. She's some interest, kind of an up down scoring person. I think for her, if we get a marginal PRA, maybe something like 12 and under, I
Yeah,
would
she's
have.
usually at 12.5. That's what this is an old prop I have up on here for.
Oh, nice. I was just guessing.
Yeah.
So I think if we get something under 12, I would definitely have interest in that. Anything 12 and above, probably not. There's This is going to be an interesting matchup for sure with Parker being out. I don't think it honestly affects the game as much as people are anticipating it is. Um, Ezra stepping in for this role, she's a fine player. She's going to do the exact same thing that Parker essentially did. Honestly, maybe even more right now because we don't know how long this knee injury has been bothering Parker, and that could explain why she only played 22 minutes this last game. There was no reason, nothing. She just kind of got pulled in the third quarter and didn't come back in. So that was a little weird. But for this matchup, honestly, a lot of these Atlanta pieces are going to have a really hard time today. There's not going to be many open looks between. I know you had mentioned Rin. She's going to be covered by Vandersloot essentially the entire game. So we have veteran star defender versus rookie trying to make a playmaker. And you saw this last game. She had so many contested shots. Actually had 3 different block shots from different opponents that were on her. And Chicago's a very seasoned team. Like this is not a young young squad like Atlanta. They know exactly what they're doing on offense, and I honestly don't think anything's going to change on their side of the ball. But from Atlanta, they're still trying to figure out their offensive pieces. And if maybe I had to give out a shout out to some of their secondary pieces, you could still consider Ari McDonald's assists at 3. I know that so far this season, Atlanta hasn't been much in the assist category as a team or for any individual player, really outside of Wheeler. But with McDonald stepping into that role and just kind of seeing her production from last year as well, I think that's still a safe play at 3. Until this prop goes at 3.5 and or over 4, it's probably still going to be live for most nights, and especially in this defensive front court
Okay.
that we're going to see.
I mean, yeah,
Man,
you could pair it with Parker's points.
yeah.
Okay.
And that's about it.
Yeah, yeah. Let's wait on the coffee news, and maybe we could see what they give open billings up at. But yeah, it looks like we're probably not going to get that till when we're already building cards. All right, so let's move to Chicago. Atlanta still carries the ranked first in defensive rating, second in rebound percentage, and yeah, they allow the least amount of points in the paint still overall in the league, but they do foul a lot, and yeah, the third in free throw attempts allowed per game. With Candace out, I just did a quick search through with the on-off court tool, and there's not much sample sizes this season with her off the court, so not that many minutes to go off of. But it looked like Vandersloot got the biggest usage bump and assists rate bump as well, which makes sense. But Emma should get a big bump too. So I think these two would probably be of interest, and I wouldn't play both of them in the same card, but I think you could definitely target each of them in separate cards. So it's just a matter of finding which prop that we like the most. I think with Vandersloot, I think with Candace out, it's even more reason her to jump into the 5 spot and play more center minutes and pick up rebounds here. Everyone else's rebound props got juiced after the Candace news, but Vandersloot's rebound stayed at 3.5. Curious to see what you think on that. And then obviously, like, her PRA is in play because she's going to rebound and rack up assists as well, and could pick up on the scoring here. So I think both of their PRAs between Emma and Courtney are definitely live, but yeah, Emma definitely has more upside for steals and blocks too. So maybe her fantasy would be more ideal here. What are your thoughts on them?
Definitely agree with you there. For this one, you could probably pair up one of their assist prop, or if you wanted to go, say, Emma fantasy plus one of their assists here. For Vandersloot, honestly, I think she could just fall into more rebounds here.
Yeah,
She could easily fall in just one more rebound, and 3.5 is almost right there in line with her season average, anyways.
yeah,
So,
yeah. It's
you know,
averaging 4.2. A lot of that is skewed from like really outlier games. They'll have like 10 rebounds in one game. But
yeah.
yeah, I just think with Candace being out, it's just more opportunity for her to rack up more rebounds. So
Oh, for sure. And, I mentioned earlier that she's going to be shadowing Ren for a lot of the time. So we've seen that Ren's taken a lot more of the long ball here. And assuming she's shooting her shot correctly, that backspin, the defender is going to be right there. And who is that? That's Vandersloot. So just kind of playing some of those scheme matchups here is going to be interesting. How much Ren's actually going to have the ball in her hand, or if she's just going to try and keep getting rid of it.
yeah, yeah. And I agree with you on Emma's fantasy is probably the most ideal for her. I guess you
Yeah.
mentioned her assist too, but which one do you? I mean, the assist is obviously a much lower line. If you had to choose between the two, which one would you choose?
Definitely fantasy. I don't think that she's going to be looking to pass the ball more. She really attacked Parker like relentlessly last game whenever they met. And a lot of the times it was just open look lanes that essentially she had a one-on-one matchup between either her or one of the off-ball defender guards, which obviously she outsizes them a substantial amount. And
Yeah,
that, for me, I think if you're going to go with Emma today, either low prop line for her points at 13.5 isn't bad, or just encompass everything she's going to do in this game in the fantasy scorer.
Yeah. I think fantasy makes sense. I mean, the last game she filled the stat line up: 4 stocks, 6 rebounds, 2 assists, and 16 points. Feel really good about her fantasy. And then Vandersloot had 7 rebounds in that game too, going right along those lines. And Candace had picked up 6 boards. So you're taking away those rebounds for Candace there, and it's even more opportunity for Vandersloot, I feel like. So it makes me like her rebound prop even more. And she should play more than 28 minutes today. Like she only played 28 in that last matchup. So
Oh,
I,
definitely.
I
There's a
like.
lot of. Oh, go ahead.
No. That was it.
I was just going to say there's a lot of, from Chicago side of the ball, a lot of the team's rebounding props that I like today. So kind of be careful, how you want to construct your card base. Make sure the correlation is going to flow, not having some of, the same on guard defenders overlapping any of those props. I think honestly from Chicago today, one of my favorite standout plays has got to be Copper Fantasy's 22. That just seems so low for her.
Okay. I mean, yeah, with Candace out, it should be more shots, even more shots for her, especially from 3 point line, right? So
Yeah. And she's been really involved, not only on the glass, but picking up a few assists here along the way. And the stock department here, we've seen that increase over the last couple of weeks as well. Her defensive skills have really looked like a lot of her last season. She came out, from her injury and looked a little rusty on both sides of the ball. I don't think that I want to depend on her just real points today, because she stays in that 12 danger zone area forever.
yeah,
But the stocks and rebounds and just the void itself that we're going to have to fill tonight from Candace not being there, that's a pretty low bar.
no, I agree. I think with Candace definitely pick up the slack on offense and scoring, so it makes total sense. I'm just looking at the first half in case people were worried about the blowout because of the spread and Atlanta being so bad on the road. Um, yeah, nothing really stands out for Copper there, but I think it makes sense just to with go the full game 22, but with it being so low for a full game prop. But yeah, I think you're gonna have to decide between Emma and Copper's fantasy. I guess you could play both, but I would feel more confident if you played one or the other in a card. So, but
Yeah.
yeah, Copper's just seems really low with Candace being out. Okay, I think that's it. We can catch up with chat and we can build our team card. Give us enough time to build that. Maybe we can do like maybe two separate ones to get different iterations since it's a large slate.
Yeah, let's maybe build, since we don't have all the news for Atlanta right now, we
Yeah.
could do a standalone game for game one and then a full prop for all of them.
Okay.
Just give you guys some
Um,
options tonight.
Wes said Skyler, JJ, and Gray 3 pick power. It's pretty solid. Yeah, Skylar just makes me nervous with how juiced her lines are, but yeah, she's been so productive. So Cowboys said Cheyenne and Rin are going ham. Hey man, if you got that bad feeling in the knee, like Gunn says, go with it, man. Just try this cheapest Tinder. All right, but I might check it out. Gunn said we're about to break 100 viewers on the video stream. Nice, man. Nice. Emerson said Emma last game destroyed her fantasy before the half. I'm mad at her again. Baby, she's doing good. Blanket that fantasy. All right.
With it.
Yep. Fraley said which one do you guys like more, Brianna fantasy points or Emma fantasy points? So you're talking about Brianna Turner fantasy? I definitely like Emma fantasy more. What about you, Eric?
Yeah, hands down with Parker being out.
Yeah. Emerson said, as I'm looking down at my Josh Priestley, it's clear Josh would go with his gut. Yep. Emma's first half. Okay, let's look. All right. Hey, what's up, Jason? Let's look at that. Because of just, I think it's worth looking at with the spread being so high. And I think this is going along the same lines as what Emerson was saying about Emma, like clearing her fantasy league right away in the first half. Looks pretty solid. I think it makes some sense if you want to go with it, if you're worried about the blowout and Atlanta just playing their usual way on the road. So wouldn't disagree with you on that one. You're not wrong. So I can mark that on our team list here. I'll just put first half. We're not getting tax on it either, right? So
correct.
Yeah, that's nice. That makes it even nicer. So Quigley, she's been playing better as of late. Can definitely consider that for a first half prop. And we need to talk about Azura. She should play more minutes with Candace out, but it's not the best matchup for her.
Yeah, I think honestly, if you guys were considering any of the other pieces for Chicago, for Quigley, I did like her assist at 2.5, and for Stevens, I think you just go the blanket with a fantasy score. She got a handful of stocks his last game, and essentially he's going to be, I think, losing out on a couple more rebounds to Emma, but her scoring upside is, I think, a little bit better than what Parker would have in this situation. And the amount of minutes that she should play, assuming she's not going to be in foul trouble, she'll easily clear that by 3/4.
Okay. Last one. Jason said Brianna Jones points versus Enrique points. It's a good question. If I had a pick, and let's see what Eric thinks. If we have a consensus here, but if I had a pick, I'm going to pick Enrique. I just have this gut feel that Dallas is due 4-game losing streak, playing at home. I think she's going to show out, and it's Phoenix. We've attacked them all season, so that's my gut feel. But I get it if you want to go Brianna.
Yeah, I'll play the advocate and go Brianna just because she was my poster for yesterday and the day before and burned us at that pesky 12 marker.
Yeah. Williams said JJ over 7.5 rebounds. So you must. Is that on Underdog? Because on PrizePicks she's at 8. I would love it. 7.5.
Did it go up? It was 7.5 earlier.
It went down. It opened at 8.
Okay, I was like, I hope it didn't change.
Wow. Okay. Yeah, I like that a lot. I thought it was at 8.
Yeah, and we liked her PRA and her fantasy score today too, and I believe she had 8 rebounds the last meeting, so you could consider it.
Right? Or she had 8. No, she had 8. You're right. She had 8. Yeah. Yeah, I like that. Oh wait, I need to change that to 7.5. I have 8 stuck in my mind. Probably because that's what she's gonna finish with again.
Exactly.
That's like her sweet spot though, like that 8 to 10 range.
Yeah, I like that rebound prop for her under 8 specifically.
Yeah. Okay. Let's do. You wanted to do just the 1-game card first?
Yeah, we can start off with that.
Okay. You want to go first?
Yeah, I can absolutely. So let's go ahead with Connecticut here. I felt pretty strong about Alyssa Thomas 5.5 assists today.
Okay.
We going back to back or one by one?
We go one by one. I'm gonna go. I'm gonna go with Gabby's fantasy.
All right. Let's see. So for Connecticut, I felt pretty comfortable with Jonquel's PRA at 25.5.
All right, and then we can't leave our girl out. Going with Brianna's fantasy.
Okay.
And then if you want to throw a fifth in there, do you want to go with Jules' assist?
Yeah, I think so. She's going to be a heavy part of this offense too, so they're going to need her out there.
There you go. Throw 2,000 on it. This is a team card for game 1, Island game. And then now we can build a full game slate.
Yeah, we'll do it with everything we have available right now.
Okay. All right, I'll go first since you went first last time. I'll go with Gray's fantasy.
Okay, nice. I was actually trying to decide between that and one other one, so that's easy enough. Let's see. Got to stick to my gut here. I think Copper, her fantasy at 22.
I like
That's
that.
easy bar.
I'm gonna go Vandersloot's 3.5 rebound.
Perfect. Goes along with our revenge pick that I'm about to give you next. Miss Parker and her real points.
Let's get it. I like it. I like this card a lot. I'm liking it, fellas. Wait, was it 9.5 or 10.5? It was always 10.5, right?
Yeah, 10.5.
Yeah, okay. And we can throw a flex play in there that we both agree on as a collective unit. What do you guys think, Chad? You want to make the fifth pick as a unit? Try to find a consensus play. See what they say. I would vote Enrique's points, but I guess we could also throw in JJ's PRA of fantasy too.
Yeah, I like it.
Or Chitoa is voting Quig's 2.5 assists. That's one we over as well. Very low.
Yeah. Absolutely. She had 4 or 5 against them last meeting.
Man, but that would be a Chicago heavy card, man. 3 Chicago and 1 card. That made me real nervous.
Oh no. Yeah.
If that game goes south, like for any reason, it's a blowout.
Well, with Parker off the floor, we've seen that she's had a fair amount of assists kind of creeping up for her. And with that being gone, they could lean on her to have the ball in her hand a little more. get a few more assists here. They get a pace-up matchup too from Atlanta.
All right, we'll call that option 1A. And then Emerson said, are you going to post these in Discord? Yeah, we'll post these in Discord for sure. And if you're not part of the free Discord, the link's below on the YouTube page. And join us free. And we're all in there 24/7 chopping up. Cowboys said Jones first half PRA.
Yeah, Jonquil. Definitely in play. They only adjusted it, I think, by 0.5. It's at like 13 or 13 and a half.
Oh, Brianna? Or no, Brianna?
Brianna? Man, I don't know.
Back at it again. Coleman wants Emma's first half fantasy. Yeah, I would say we could do that if we. I would probably take out Copper's fantasy if we were gonna do that. That would make me nervous having so many Chicago on one card.
That would be a better play for a lower probability to miss.
I'd also say probably want exposure to. We'll just make one more. I would say we probably want exposure to Enrique. It's perfect spot for her. I mean,
yeah, we could go
head our way.
Do you want to go Enrique real points here?
Yeah.
Okay. So let's go Enrique and Ezzy real points because I'm pretty high. Yeah, I'm pretty high
about Ezzy today. Yeah. I like that. We forgot about her. Okay. And then people wanted Emma, right?
Yeah, Emma. Honestly, her first half or full game prop, she might clear her full game prop by half again.
Yeah, let's just do the first half for the fam. Gray fantasy. Yeah, we had that in the first card. And there was any other that we liked that we didn't put in here? I think we liked.
We need diamond in one of these cards.
Oh yeah.
Diamond real points.
Yeah. A lot of good options today. So card construction is going to be key.
Yeah, and don't feel bad, if even on a bigger slate, if you combine 3 on one card, just as long as it correlates well and they're not taking away something. For these people being out, that's definitely a could be situation.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's just when you do that for a game, the only risk is when you do it for a game that has such a high spread. If things just go south and it blows out, the potential that all 3 clear makes it much lower.
Oh, for sure.
Do we want Brianna Jones for this one since we went John Cole on the other one?
Yeah, let's go with her PRA actually, because I was pretty high on that today. And it was a line that they didn't really adjust for her either.
Yeah, I notice at times she doesn't rack up that many stocks, so I like it. But 2,000. All right, so we got 3 different variations that we'll post in Discord that we built as a team, even with the chat. So honestly, I feel good about all 3 of them. Yeah. So we'll update the list, and I'll post it for the YouTube members, the YouTube member channel, the final top 10, and post some potential cards, on top of the ones here that we built. And yeah, we just gotta build these quickly. We only have 30 minutes for the first game, but we can always just build let the first game start, and you can build cards for the games that 2 games that start an hour later. So it give you a nice hour buffer too, so you don't have to stress out about getting cards in. So yeah, something to think about. And you got anything else, Eric, before we check out?
No, that's gonna be it. We're just gonna be waiting around for Atlanta props to drop on us, probably right at lock, and see how it goes. Good luck out there tonight, everyone.
Yeah, let's get that bread, fam. We will be back on. Is there other games Monday?
That I'm not 100% sure about. I haven't looked into yet. Let's see. Don't think so. Nope, no games.
All right, so we'll be back on Tuesday then with our usual stream. Probably, depending on the baseball schedule, probably be around the same time, 5 p.m. Eastern. But yeah, we'll figure it out. All right, Chad, you guys have a good weekend, and hey, happy Father's Day to everyone out there, whoever fathers. Enjoy the Sunday, kick it back, and yeah, so let's have a good weekend, man.
Take it easy, y'all.
All right, take care, everyone. All right, I'm gonna work on the list, and I'll catch you in live chat.
Yeah, I'll be there in a second. I'm just gonna take the dogs out real quick.
I'll see you, man.
All right, see ya.